Right guys, so Billy. So in this session, or this part of this session, I'm going to show you some handling that you'll have seen me do before. But what I'm doing now is I'm doing left, right and back work, what I call the 3-card trick. I'm using 3 of my high-vis dummies because I want him to be able to pick them relatively easy. It's not about hunting an area, it's about a dog reading the command and then picking a correct retrieve off the correct command. So in the past, you've seen me do a lot of handling outside. Now come into woodland, there's more structure to get in the way, more things for the dog to go wrong. So as individual sessions and within hunting sessions that I'm doing, I am doing that 3-card trick. So I might spend 2-3 minutes hunting for balls, then I stop and then I do a little mini handling session, 5, 6, 7 retrieves, and then I might hunt on and then do it in a new spot. So that's dogs learning to handle with lots of obstructions like trees and branches and sticks getting in the way, but still read and get the commands correct based off that. So I'm going to be putting a back retrieve out, a left and a right. Might do 4 or 5 retrieves like that. Then I might pivot it on its axis to the right. Now becomes the back. I throw one out to the left and have one out to the right. And I do little mini sessions of handling. So I'm not doing 5-10 minutes. It's just little mini sessions in amongst my training. So my dog's learning to pick retrieves in different environments all the time. So I'm going to get some dummies out and we're going to get going, aren't we? Right, Billy, sit. Right, so I'm in a position, I'm going to be doing a right that way, a left that way, and a back retrieve that way, and I expect him to hopefully pick every retrieve off the correct command, whichever hand I'm using. So I'm going to put one out to the right straight away. I'm throwing them about, I don't know, it's probably about 30 yards. I'm going to do the same the other way. It's a bit more obstruction that way. You won't obviously see all these retrieves because it's hard to get them on camera. And then I'm going to throw one directly behind him, and I'm just going to alternate which hand I use to send him for what. Okay, here we go. Now, normally I'd do this at a bit further range from you guys, but to get it all on camera is not the easiest thing. So I'm going to stand relatively close to him so it stays all on camera, hopefully. So I'm going to do a back with the right hand first. And sometimes you'll see me doing this, and this is to make sure that the dog is paying attention to the actual command and doesn't just see a little bit of movement and then try and predict what I'm going to do. Right. So I use my right hand, I expect him to turn to my right, his left to go back. Good boy. Sit. Little rub on the chest. Good lad. Good lad. Whoop. Dead. And then I'm going to bring him back round to the spot. Here. Sit. I'm going to put the retrieve back out again. That wasn't very good throwing, was it? Now, what you must always do is make sure that dog is straight before you go. So I'm going to pick the left one now. See, he made a mistake there. Is him trying to predict, because he saw my hand in the air and assumed that's what I was going to do. But I'm actually going to send him left. A little bit of hump whistle every time he picks the retrieve. Good boy. Dead. Bring him back round to the spot. Sit. I'm going to put that one back out again. Now the difficult back retrieve for him to pick now would always be back with my left hand, because that's the last one that he's seen go out. So his natural inclination would be more to go that way. At a novice level, I'd always use my opposite hand, but as the dog gets better, I want it to be able to go on any hand that I want and turn the correct way. Right. So left hand, he turned to my left, his right to go back. Good boy, good boy. Gonna let him sit up. A little rub on the chest, good boy. Dead. So I'm gonna put this one back out again. So that one's gonna be a better throw this time, hopefully. So I'm gonna do the right-handed retrieve now. Dead. Sit. So a lot of dogs, the second you drop your hand, they start to go, but you might change your mind and send the dog with the other hand. So even though I've done a high stop and I've dropped to my hip, I might decide to use my other hand to push the dog left or right. And the dog must wait for the actual command and not try and predict it, which is what a lot of dogs will do. Now, the tricky retrieve for him now would be the back retrieve of my right hand, because the right-handed retrieve is the last one that he's seen go out. Sit. Right, right. A little bit of hesitation. Good boy. I'm standing side on here, so hopefully you can see a bit more. Good boy, well done. Good boy, well done. Hand on the retrieve, dead. So I'm going to put that one back out again now. Now I'm going to pick the left one. That one landed in a bit of cover, so that's nice. Had to have a mini little hunt for that. So I'm going to put that back out again, sit. So again, the difficult one to pick now would be the back with my left hand because of the left one having gone out. Right. Now, obviously, the further you get away from the dog, the more those hand signals and the verbals gets watered down. So as I move further and further away, I want to be really, really clear about my verbal and my hands and not just be wishy-washy. Dead. I don't want to be wishy-washy with how I send the dog. Sit. Good boy, a little bit of hump whistle. Even though he can see it, if he gets used to hearing that hump whistle every time he's about to pick a retrieve, later when they're not easy to find, he'll have the confidence recognizing I'm telling him that there is a retrieve there. Now in the main body of my training, I'll be using a whistle a lot. And as the dog gets better and better, I wean it off it so it's just a very small bit of help. So I'm not on the whistle all the time. But in the main body of your training, you want to be using a whistle. Your dog is not going to learn that hump whistle any other time. Good boy. Dead. Sit. So as I said, normally with him, I'd be standing 20, 30 yards back, but if I do that, you won't see anything. So we're going to pick a couple more. And then, as I explained, I might do 5 or 6 retrieves here, then I might go into a different spot and do some more retrieves there, a bit of hunting between. I really mix it up, but I'm sticking to 180s and 90-degree angles all the time. That dog will build up its confidence in finding the retrieve based off that command every time. And that's how you get better and better and better. Sit, Billy, yeah. Sit. Also, dog must always be straight when you start, guys. Sit. I'm going to do the back retrieve with my left hand this time. Hopefully I'm not going to block you too much. Right. When a dog is good at this, they will slowly start to learn. Billy, sit. The dog will learn to turn and then run. A novice dog will turn and run at the same time. And that's why early on it's so important that when that dog turns that it sees a retrieve straight away. Otherwise it won't learn to turn and run in a straight line. That's really, really important. So I'm just going to pick these last couple of retrieves, put that one back in my bag. So I've got a left one, got a right one and a left one. Good boy, good boy, good boy. And then last one, sit, pick the left one. I'm going to stand behind the camera for this one. Lovely. Anyway, there is never a time with a trained dog that I am not doing the 3-card trick. I'm always doing it once or twice a week at least. It's like a warm-up. It keeps it all fresh in your dog's mind. Your dog recognizing the back hands with both hands and those lefts and rights. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. Well done, Billy. Good boy. Right, so here we are with Billy to start doing a little bit of hunt training. I'm pre-planting and throwing balls throughout this little training session that we're doing. You'll often hear me using my hunt whistle, which is to stimulate the dog to understand that they may be about to pick a retrieve. I will wean the dog off this later on, but at this stage now, he's about 14 months old. I'm still letting him know when he's about to pick a retrieve and also using that hunt whistle to indicate to him to hunt. You'll also often see me turning my back on the dog to get the dog coming through, or just like then using my hand to get the dog to come right into my hand. I'm trying not to make eye contact with the dog because I don't want to inhibit the dog's hunting. Unlike heel work and retrieving where you might want the dog to look at you all the time, in this situation I don't want the dog to keep looking at me. I want the dog to get on with the hunting. I'm also trying to keep him in a fairly close area because I want him to find the retrieves relatively close to me, because if he regularly finds the retrieves close to me, that's where he's then going to want to be. Again, using my hand to get the dog to come right in. Now he found that retrieve right at my toes there, which was great. I'm now going to throw the retrieve out. I've covered his eyes because I don't want him to see it going out. He's very clever. He very much knows when I'm doing stuff. Here I'm going to pick up a little twig, I'm going to chuck that down, and that helps to start the dog off with the hunting again. Look at that lovely style. He's moving really nicely here, covering the ground. The ferns aren't too high here, which is great. So it really allows the dog to hunt properly without inhibiting the dog's movement. You'll often see me there turning my shoulders, showing the dog my back. I've just placed the retrieve back down there when he wasn't looking. It's important that the dog doesn't see you throwing these retrieves down, because as soon as you get caught doing it regularly, the dog will actually stop hunting and start looking at you all the time rather than getting on and doing the job. So he just picked a ball there. I'm just going to cast him off again, picking something up to throw down just to give him an option to start hunting again, and off he goes. I'm trying to be nice and relaxed and casual with my movement. I'm not trying to fuss the dog too much at this stage. You'll see me dropping my hand like I did there. That's to get the dog right in across my toes. So here, he's trying to find a retrieve that I'd pre-planted. I'm then going to make him let go of it, spit it out, giving him a clap and a blind retrieve where I'm now sending him. He has picked retrieves over this spot before, which does help. It's not a complete blind because he has done that before. A lovely bit of slow-mo there. He does love his retrieving, Billy. Comes in nicely, sits up, hand onto the retrieve. That's going to go back in my bag. There I was leaning in to pick up the retrieve again because I didn't want him to go back and pick it up, having spat it out. I don't like to hunt the dog and stop it for nothing, because that can start to inhibit the dog's hunting. So by allowing the dog to hunt to find the retrieve, then when I stop them and make them spit it out, they get a scene or a mark or a memory. That means that the dog will always hunt in between, rather than just constantly stopping the dog and then sending it for retrieves. That can start to then make the dog a bit sticky. Heel. Right guys, so I hope you enjoyed Billy's latest episode. I'll try and do another one for Charlie soon. It's a bit difficult with these older dogs to capture everything on camera, but everything you've seen me do on past vlogs is what I'm still doing now. Nothing's changing. Lots of hunting for retrieves, lots of handling training, working towards trialing this winter with Charlie and Billy with a bit of luck if I get time to do so. I'm gonna let you know who the winners were from the competition that I put the other week. So I'm gonna put one of the names here, one of them here, and one of them down here. If you've been to the CLA Game Fair yesterday and Saturday 27th, maybe I saw you, maybe I didn't. If I did and I chatted to you, really nice to meet you guys. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe, like. Any questions, stick them in the description below. Happy training, guys. Come on.